and welcome back to the Aquarium in Niagara. We have a special surprise. The Easter Bunny paid us a visit. So we're going to walk around to all the exhibits and we'll talk about them a little bit, give you guys a chance to count how many eggs are in all of the exhibits, tally them down, make sure you're writing them down, because at the end you can submit your guesses and be entered for a chance to win aquarium guest passes. So we're going to start with our Lionfish exhibit here, since we're right here. So a couple fun facts for our exhibit here. We have our balloonfish, but we also have some other fish in here. We have bluehead wrasses, we have blennies, and we also have what we call a clown wrasse. We only have one clown wrasse. He's a little hard to spot. He might be hiding right now. As you guys can see, our balloonfish are very social, very interested in what's going on right now. They're very inquisitive creatures. They're very curious. We also, to give them a little enrichment, a little stimulation every day, we train them while we feed them.
Alright, and then we'll come on over and see if we can find any eggs in any other exhibit that the Easter Bunny may have seen. So here we have our lionfish exhibit. So these lionfish are very beautiful animals, but they're also very invasive in our area. So they're native to the Indo-Pacific, but they can be found here in the U.S. everywhere from Florida all the way up to the state of New York. So a fun fact about them is they're what's called ambush predators. So they will actually spread out those big fins on the side and kind of corral their prey into a corner and then just jump really fast and gobble up any food that they might find. And then our next exhibit here, this is our Indo-Pacific exhibit. So as you can see, there are a lot of fish going on in here. So we're actually just going to focus on 3 for our fun facts. So this fish coming right up here that has the black stripe across his face, that is a foxface or a rabbit fish. He is what's called an herbivore. So that means he only eats plants. Then we have our lovely guy over here, that is our lagoon trigger or a Picasso fish. As you can see from his beautiful coloring, he is a carnivore, so he only eats meat. And then in the center we have our school of beautiful blue-green chromis. So they are kind of right in the middle. They are omnivores. They will eat both meat and plants. And then our last one in this row that I think the Easter Bunny may have visited is our symbiosis exhibit. So we have a couple species in here. We have our clownfish, of course, and then these other cool fish that you see are actually called pajama cardinals, and they're called that because they look like they're wearing pajamas. Now, a fun fact about this exhibit is of the almost 1,000 species of anemones that exist, only 10 species will have this symbiotic relationship with the clownfish. Now, the clownfish have an extra thick mucus coat that protects them, and they will produce waste and draw in other fish that the anemone can eat. Meanwhile, the anemone gets cleaned from the clownfish swimming in and out of it, and the clownfish gets a nice, safe home.
Alright, coming on over to our shark exhibit next, my personal favorite exhibit. A couple fun facts about this exhibit is we have 4 different species of fish and 2 different species of shark in here. So right there on the glass is what we have, is our remora fish. So a fun fact about remora is what you see is actually considered his back. So the way he's sticking onto the glass is with his plate there. Also, with our 2 shark species, we have one that constantly is swimming around, which is our black-tip reef sharks. And then we also have a species that is sleeping behind the seafloor right now. Yep, that's our white-spotted bamboo sharks. And they're able to just sit on the ground like that and rest and sleep. And the way that they're able to do that is they actually have a special organ that allows them to force water over their gills so that they don't have to keep swimming to have the water go over their gills.
Then if you come on over here, we have our spotted turtles. So we'll take a look inside. We have 6 spotted turtles, 1 female, and the rest are males. So they're called spotted turtles obviously because they have all those yellow spots on their shell. Now they can actually be born without the spots on their shell, though it is very rare. Now a fun fact about these fun animals is a female will actually only lay 3 to 4 eggs at a time. And then when she's done laying her eggs, she'll cover it up and then run her body across the top so you can't see the nest at all, and that protects it from predators. Now turtles, of course, are very long-lived. These turtles can live to be on average about 25 years, though they can get up to 50 years.
Our invasive species exhibit. We have 2 invasive species in here, our rudd, which is the bigger fish in the front, and then we also have brown gobies in here, which one just swam up into the front to let you guys see. So an invasive species is basically just a fish that can outcompete other native species that are naturally found in that specific habitat. They can reproduce more quickly, and they're very adaptable to any environment they're in.
Coming over here, we have our Lake Ontario exhibit. So as you can see, there is a lot of fish in here, though they all seem to be hanging out towards the bottom at the moment. We have our 2 sturgeon, which you can see are very nicely side by side coming to visit us. And then also in this exhibit, we have our coho salmon, our Atlantic salmon, and 3 American eels. Now some of these fish might be considered sport fish, and they are actually usually stocked. So what that means is we have a hatchery, so there's a hatchery that exists, and they kind of raise up all these fish and they put them in the lakes for other people to enjoy. So recreational fishermen can come and fish those, and it's a nice sustainable way to maintain the population. Another fun fact about this exhibit itself is we have this shipwreck in here, which is actually a model after an actual shipwreck in Lake Ontario.
This is our living fossils exhibit. So by living fossils, we mean that these fish in here are actually date back hundreds of millions of years. So in here we have 2 species of gar. We have a short-nosed and a long-nosed. And then we also have our bowfin and a shovel-nosed sturgeon. And then lastly, we have on this wall, at least lastly, we have our cichlid exhibit. These are African wrist cichlids. And they are from the Great Lakes of East Africa. There are actually over 500 different species of cichlids. They're a very diverse type of fish. And in this exhibit, we also have a lot of different species. I think we have about 13 different species in here. a fun fact about cichlids is that they are mouth breeders, which means that the eggs will stay in their mouths until they hatch.
Exhibits over here. Finish up our exhibits that Bunny might have visited.
So this is our axolotl exhibit. We actually have 3 axolotls in there. We have 2 females and a male. So a fun fact about axolotls is they actually retain their fins and their gills throughout their entire adulthood. So unlike other salamanders that will eventually develop into land walking animals, these guys will stay in the water for their entire lives. Also with axolotls, they're very endangered in the wild. There's practically none left, but they do very, very well in captivity. So there are a lot in captivity. Exhibit we have is of course our Sturgeon fingerling exhibit. These are lake sturgeon specifically. So these guys will eventually be released back into the wild. We have them for about a year before they are released. So they'll be about 2 years old at the time of their release. This is just part of our conservation efforts to try to repopulate, reintroduce them back into their native environments. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to submit your guesses to us. I think you have till tomorrow. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, if nobody has questions, thanks for joining.